what's helped me most in my life? What helped me believe in the possible? Believe in others? Believe in thinking big? What made me a doer, a maker, a give it a goer? What made me realize that it was okay to fail, okay to take a wrong turn, to step back, to breathe, to have a plan B, and then maybe a plan C? What made me never give up and keep trying again and again and again? What helped me to find a purpose? Helped me to know the strength of kindness and loyalty, to value friendships, value others. What made me? Scouts made me. Scouts have helped me become who I am today, and it's thanks to people like you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first area AGM and celebration of Scouting online. A very different year 2020 has been, and this is a very different way to be running an AGM. Welcome to everyone joining us on Zoom, our Area Scout Council, to those joining us on Facebook and on our website. This is, as I said, a very different way to be doing it, but hopefully we can reach a lot more people. Tonight is very much about a celebration of what we've achieved back to June 2019. And our last AGM at Glamorganshire Golf Club on a very summer's evening looking over the golf course. Today we're in October, a bit autumny. I cycled up the Traff Trail earlier to get to the hub, and there was acorns on the ground, and it was a very damp. So very different time of year to be holding our AGM. So it's my duty as Area Commissioner to put forward the first part of the meeting, the approval of the Area Commissioner's nomination for Chair. And I would like to put forward Gareth Evans, as he has done a great job for a number of years and continues to do so. And how we're going to get the whole council to vote on this is we're going to have 30-second polls for those who are watching online. So we're going to open the poll now. And those voting have 30 seconds to vote now. And that was 30 seconds. And I'm pleased to say 100% going to support you. So thank you very much.
I'm honoured, thank you.
Now over to you then.
Thank you very much. We go on to the Pathway Awards. The first award is for funding and assets, and I ask our friend and colleague Neil Wicks if you would now like to speak. Neil.
Oh, I'm going to start by doing something slightly different, as you would expect, I suppose, by now. So, noswaith ar I chi gyd, croeso I noson dathlu Scoutiaid Cardiff and Vale. So, good evening and welcome to the Cardiff and Vale Scout celebration evening. With regards to the pathway, we've made good progress during the year. In that way, it was a new pathway, so things perhaps were not always to be expected, and we didn't know what was to come. But we've made good progress, introduced the property survey, which has given us a better view of that property. And in the funding stream, we have secured some grants and have begun supporting some redevelopments of groups. But as I said in Welsh and in English, tonight is about really a celebration. And so the key is in terms of those Pathway Awards and how those awards are helping to develop and support Scouting. We received a good number of nominations, I'm pleased to say, for the Pathway, and we actually have 2 awards to celebrate tonight. The first is highly commended to 22nd St Anne's. So led by Eleanor Harries, the 22nd worked hard to secure fundraising and to renovate and refurbish the toilets at the hall. Following the refurbishment, they have separate areas for young people and for adults. And if you have a gender neutral, so they are able to accommodate, or multi-gender, I should say, they are able to accommodate much wider than previously. It's taken a few years to come to fruition. However, during that time as well, the group's raised money for an outdoor kitchen and a pizza oven, and enhance the facilities of the hall for the group and its users. So well done to 22nd, and congratulations on your achievement and the highly commended award.
Thank you, Neil.
Looking at the winner of this group, the winner of the assets and funding pathway goes to a group who have been fundraising for a number of years to rebuild and renovate part of their hall. This has been a major project with years of fundraising to achieve that. So a massive effort by the group and a fantastic achievement. The slides which we moved on to, thank you. The slides show that the sheer volume of work that was achieved by First Innis Powys to do that. So congratulations to the winner of the Assets and Funding Pathway, First Innis Powys Scout Group.
Thanks, Neil. Congratulations to the winner and the highly commended. Alison Doherty is going to present the Inclusion Award. Alison.
Hiya, good evening. Okay, first of all, I just wanted to give a little bit of a sort of looking back over sort of inclusion. So we've done sort of Pride 2019, and we had really good representation from Scouting. And this year we had activities at the Family Village, which was run by our members. T Haven Scout Group continue to offer scouting to young people at the hospice along with their siblings. The Jason Russell Fund was able to support young people with uniform sort of costs and activities for young people that may not have been otherwise able to afford these. 25% of our youth membership is female, and this figure increases with the older section, with 37% being female in Scout Network. And the other bit of sort of news since the last AGM is that I was appointed in July 2020 as the Assistant Area Commissioner for Inclusion. So just to give you a little bit of looking to the future, throughout the past sort of months of Scouting, Scouting has embraced virtual Scouting, and it's given us so many opportunities. However, I think it's important that as we look to the future and the use of virtual programs, that we need to develop ways to include members that do not freely have access to the internet. We have also recruited 2 area youth pathway partners to the inclusion team that will work with me to develop and support inclusion within the area. They will offer such a great insight into the challenges faced by our youth members from a youth perspective. And this is going to enable us to sort of develop appropriate and targeted development strategies. We're also going to be looking at knowledge, skills and confidence of adult members. And this is going to be an important part of our future. We will be looking to develop inclusion champions within the districts, supporting inclusion development throughout the area. This is going to be achieved through various streams: virtual meetings, webinars, email shots, face-to-face when we're able, and sort of linking up sort of inclusion sort of charities with us. This evening, I have the great pleasure of announcing the winners of the Inclusion Pathway Award. This award is going to 2 youth members who have worked considerably hard to promote inclusion in Scouting. They organised and ran Scouting activities in the Family Village, at Pride 2019. These activities were exceptionally well received and were enjoyed by not only sort of Scouting family, but the wider communities. We are very, very proud of their achievement and their commitment to inclusion within Scouting. And I'm very pleased to say the award goes to Kathy and Joe Fletcher. Congratulations both.
It's been an amazing day at Pride today. We walked around a mile in the parade with beavers, cubs, scouts, explorers and leaders from all over time. It's great to be part of it and I'm super proud to be a Scout in Wales.
It's been brilliant. I love that at the end of every Pride my cheeks are hurting because I've just been smiling the whole day. I will definitely lose my voice by the time I get home.
It's really important that Scouts support Pride because it shows that we are open to all. It shouts loud that we are proud and we're open to everybody. Some people might think Scouting is a little bit dated in the respect that you've got to be a boy and you've got to be this and you've got to be that. Rubbish. Scouting is for anyone and everyone, whatever your age.
We should shout about that and show that we're proud to be Scouts and to be part of the community.
Well done both. One of the things I've really enjoyed in my time as chairman is going to national conferences where our work on inclusion really, really stands out. And I think it's one of the best things we do as an area. Training. Kathy, would you like to take us through the training award?
Thank you, Chair. Some of the celebrations on the training side of the last year and a bit. We've all had, many of us will have had those emails from Scouts Association encouraging us to improve our safety and safeguarding compliance. And one of the things I am pleased with is our improvement in our compliance in these areas across the area. In April, 63% of our leaders had completed their safety training and 64% safeguarding. When I looked again in mid-September, our safety was at 81% and our safeguarding is at 82%. That is one of the things we're going to focus on as well going forward, is improving that even more this year. During 2019-2020, well, during 2020, the pandemic's affected our ability to run face-to-face training. So as with programmes and youth activities, we are now providing training via Zoom. And part of that training is for the Wood Badge. And in 2019, we recommended 41 leaders for their Wood Badge. But in the first 6 months of 2020, we recommended 62 leaders for a Wood Badge. So that's going to be more, hopefully more than double when we add the year's total up. We're going to continue to offer that blended approach to training going forward. We're going to do workbooks, e-learning, face-to-face training when we can, and Zoom. We want to make sure our leaders have the skills they need to run awesome Scouting across the area, and training is key to that. One of our biggest challenges and one of the areas we have to focus this year is our first response training. When I looked a few weeks ago, we had over 200 leaders needing their first response training. And this is one of the things that has been affected by the pandemic. It's a classroom-based training session. We can't run it. We can't do the practical assessments because of the pandemic. So we're looking at e-learning training, and we launched last week our e-learning training, which is then supported and assessed by a practical session when we get back face-to-face. While it's not ideal, the e-learning does allow our leaders to have that knowledge and skill should they need to put it into practice. So we've got lots of things we're going to continue doing for training as we go forward. On to our Pathway Awards. I have a highly commended award and an award winner. The person for the highly commended was nominated as they'd been instrumental in reviewing the delivery of the Getting Started training within their district. They established the systems and processes and modernised the delivery of that training. They not only worked hard to do this, ready to deliver it as normal at the hub, but then they quickly adapted when we had to change the way we did this and went to the virtual world. The highly commended goes to Sarah Malia from Cardiff East. Well done, Sarah. The award winner was nominated for their commitment to training in the district and in the area. Within their district, they are the advocate for training. They're always on hand to help a leader complete their wood badge or welcome the new leader or supporter to Scouting. If support is needed for the training weekends or a session, I usually turn to them and know they'll be there. This person has the longest serving local training manager record in the area. And when I ring with a dilemma, they help me work through that problem. The Training Pathway Award winner is Susan Evans.
And Susan. Many congratulations to both the highly commended and the winner, both very, very deserving. Youth, Joanne Fran.
Yes, hello everyone. So,
Hi, Joe.
obviously the Youth Pathway, as a youth organisation, I'm going to obviously say that the youth is very, very important to what we do, and probably one of the most important things. And making sure that we have the involvement of young people has been paramount to Scouting. Especially recently, we've massively stepped that up. I'd like to say thank you to Matt Johnson, who I took over from in January. He did a great job as the Area Youth Commissioner. And also Fran, who has been the Deputy Area Youth Commissioner for a number of years now, who will be stepping into the role of Area Youth Commissioner alongside myself when she turns 18. We've also added a number of additional youth roles to the area team. Our area team has grown massively. Each of the individual pathways have youth pathway partners or deputy area youth commissioners. We're going to be working with the AACs to really push youth within their respective pathways. We think it's really important to have youth voice in every decision made in Scouting. And so we want to work with everyone to ensure that at district and area level, we achieve that. And I'd like to hand over to Fran, who is going to present the Youth Pathway Award.
Hi, thank you. So this is what we've got written. So tonight's award winners have flourished under the current restrictions, led by a leader who is under 25 and a young leader who is rising 18 in the coming months. They have delivered a weekly session on Zoom since the first week of lockdown, which have been predominantly youth-led. From this cohort, there are now young leaders taking a role on the district team for Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, Explorers and Inclusion, having their voice heard at a strategic and operational level. The peer support offered via these sessions has been such a value to all this difficult time for the young people. And so I'm pleased to announce that this year's Youth Pathway Award goes to the Cardiff East Young Leaders team.
Community Award, Polly. Hi, Polly.
Oh, sorry. I think I couldn't have asked for a better introduction, really. I think in the past few months, we've really discovered a sort of new, additional meaning to community. You know, community has been so important to everyone during this pandemic, and I know my Scout community has been something that's really helped me get through it. So it's a real honour to be asked to be in charge of community for the area. So we've made some really great progress. So sorry, my notes are just next to it and it's all a bit tricky. So we've had lots of really great community engagement this year. So we've had the Barry Scout and Guide for and the record attempt. We've had Brave Dragons Explorers collecting essentials for the Huggard Centre. We've had Scout Post partnered with the Cardiff and Vale Health Charity, and lots of other really, really meaningful partnerships. And we're moving forward, we're looking to build on those partnerships as much as possible. So
We have some comments that some people are struggling to hear sound.
Okay, I haven't said anything. I've been waiting for the slide to move.
Okay, the video will start, so you need to announce first, because the video will kick in straight away.
So, yes. The winners are Barry's Scout and Guide. I think we can all agree organising something of that level takes so much commitment and work, and a huge well done, because it's superhuman.
Quite brilliant effort. Well done, Barry. Thank you. Can you all hear me now? Thank you very much. That ends the first part of the awards, and we have a second part of the awards after the AGM, but we begin the AGM proper now. So good evening. May I first ask you all to join me in a moment's silence as a mark of respect to those who've gone home since the last AGM. These include Brian Foley, Corinne Picketts, and Eileen Shakel. Thank you. My initial aim in writing this reflection was to avoid using the word unprecedented, but it seems that I already have, and I don't apologise for so doing. The last time we suffered a global pandemic was between the spring of 1918 and the summer of 1919. That was only 10 years or so after the association was founded. During that pandemic, our members provided some vital services to their communities. My quick research came up with the following list, where some items might not directly align with current POR. They include running messages, answering telephone calls, supplying time, effort, and equipment, carrying soup from the municipal kitchen, support and relief for victims, nursing, childcare and domestic help, and acting as orderlies in hospitals. Undertaking all these tasks with what one report described as unparalleled courage and kindness. There was another duty I found that I'm not sure would be encouraged in 2020. The report mentioned that Scout works as informers for local health officials, tasked to report violations of local health orders. Perhaps that's why we organise Cubs and Sixes, and possibly First Barnard Castle Scouts missed a particular opportunity back in April of this year. So was I right to consider avoiding the use of the word unprecedented? Following the Spanish flu pandemic, the impact of Scouting was writ large in historical records. I'm sure we all see the same qualities of courage, care and kindness in our current membership. In 2020, the Scout Association were quick to move from the great outdoors to the great indoors, and in so doing, provided ongoing scouting, camaraderie, and support for mental health and well-being for members young and old. Remember that around 1,500 or 4,500 members in Cardiff and Vale are over 18. One or two of us, well over 18. The Scouts website has a newsline that says, thinking back on the great indoors, how courage, kindness, and thinking differently made this a summer to remember. Let us all try to look back on the summer of 2020 in just those terms and look forward to 2021 with a return to face-to-face scouting and an AGM where we can meet so many friends and celebrate the numerous achievements of a great area in a great association. So these are not unprecedented times. There has been a global pandemic before, and the response of Scouting was then, as it is now, pivotal to the mental health and well-being of our members and the wider community, and pivotal to the development of young people learning skills for life in the hardest possible environment. Thank you. We move on to apologies for absence. On screen. We move on to the approval of the 2019 minutes. The minutes are on screen at the moment. They were circulated ahead of the meeting. No comments came in suggesting amendments, and it was proposed that they were adopted by Keith Burfoot, and that was seconded by Cathy Steele. Julian, can you please start the formal vote procedure? As before, a 30-second window to agree, disagree, or abstain, please. And it's frustrating because I can't see what's being voted for.
So the results were 51 votes for, none against, 3 abstentions.
Thank you. We move on to this year, presentation and adoption of the annual report and statement of accounts. Julian, would you like to begin?
So firstly, I'd like to start off with thanks. Thanks to all the volunteers for the last 6 months. I don't think I realised on the 16th of March, when I wrote a letter to all members saying that Scouting would be closing, face-to-face Scouting that would be closed for so long. But the imagination and ongoing support we've given to our young members and our families has been amazing. I also want to thank for all those who made tonight possible, especially to Jeremy and Carol for all the work they've done on the accounts for the last 12 months. As I said at the beginning of the meeting, it's a very different way to be doing an AGM, looking at a camera and talking to 73 people all at home. So thank you for joining in. I'm not going to talk too much about the pathways because I now have a team that can do that. I'm very pleased to welcome in the last few months Gareth Johns as AAC Communication, Holly as AAC Community, Alison as AAC Inclusion, and Joe and Fran into the youth team. And as they said earlier, there is a number of youth partners joining the team as well. So we are very privileged now to have a team around me to support and deliver the roadmap. And somebody said to me the other day, isn't the roadmap useless under COVID? And I said, no, totally not. The roadmap gives us the direction. And if we hadn't had that direction, we'd been lost back in March. But we've carried on looking forward to where we're going to go. And it's also supported us through COVID. Yes, we haven't been able to do the outdoor activities that we were doing 6 months ago. Our last activity as an area was the swimming gala. But we've gone online and moved so many things to online and got young people camping at home, doing the activities, getting involved. And James will tell us a little bit more about that later. Secondly, then, is communication. I don't think in the last 10 years, the area commissioner has written as many letters as I've had to write in the last 6 months, explaining where we are and what we're doing. And thanks to my proofreaders, as you all know, I'm dyslexic, so I need people just to check my letters for me. Community, as Polly said, we have really stood out in our communities. Maybe not out on the streets wearing our neckerchiefs, but in our homes, bringing people together, making sure scouting continues, and we support our young members. When school disappeared on them, we were there to support them. As Neil said, we're funding and assets. We're still developing our buildings, we're still developing our assets. One of the things that I spoke about this time, at the last AGM, not this time last year, at the last AGM, was that we were going to do this building audit to work out what we owned, what we leased, what we rented, etc. And that came to kind of its full bearing when the government announced the leisure, hospitality and retail grants. And I'm pleased to say that groups across Cardiff and Vale reached out and brought in over 350,000 into Scouts in that way, which will support us when we can't run Scout Post this year and we've lost 150,000 from our income. But we could have had another 30,000 if we had a little bit more knowledge on a couple of buildings and been in a better situation in terms of the paperwork behind that. So again, what I say about the roadmap, it was there to build up our knowledge, build up our governance, so we need to continue in that. Growth and development. Yes, we were growing, we were doing really well. We'd opened new cutbacks in First in Pride, we'd opened a new beaver colony at the 84th, and new Explorer Scout units in Pentwyn. And then COVID did hit, and we changed the way, and we developed scouting into a totally different way. We've got so many more associated members that when we do get back to face-to-face scouting, we need to get involved. As Alison was talking about, inclusion, we need to make sure that we've got everyone there. But then when we come back to face-to-face, and where we're in this kind of amber stage where we are face-to-face and online, some people will be comfortable to come back to face-to-face, others will be more comfortable to stay at home. And so that's our way of including people in a different way. International. Now, that's been a really hard during COVID. We were going to go to the European Jamboree. There was going to be a Cardiff North going to Croatia. So we've had a number of setbacks. And yes, districts and area will be more cautious over the next few years about big international trips. But we will continue to support Eurojam next year. And what I would encourage groups to do is look to how do we build the international programme back in our local scout groups. And Ruth will probably talk a bit more about that later. As Kathy had already talked about, we moved training to Zoom and had a massive uptake on that. We've upped our compliance, and Kathy's given you the figures on that. So training has evolved and developed in a different way. Youth, we're bringing in loads of different people into the team to give us different aspects. And one of the things we've just done before this meeting is change our constitution to add the 9 pathway leads and the 5 youth commissioners in the districts onto the Area Scout Council, so that it makes this meeting more youth-based. So, as I said, is the roadmap pointless at this time? No, it gives us direction. It's going to send us forward. We need to look to the future now. COVID has happened, and we need to get over it. We need to move forward. And we need to get used to social distancing. That's going to be around for a little bit while, so we'll just adapt. We're scouts, we can adapt. We've got the biggest challenge in our youth in probably 50 years. They've not been into schools for 3 to 6 months. We've been there supporting them. They're going to need the skills for life coming from scouting. So we need to keep on building that. And that's why our roadmap, and I will hand over to Jeremy now to tell you about how we fund it.
Right, thank you. Right, well, I don't propose going through all the figures. Just wait for the screen. I don't propose going through all the figures because if we bear in mind that these are as at the December 2019, which is sort of 10 months ago, so it's really all historic stuff. However, just a few things that I'd like to highlight that have happened primarily in 2019. We were pleased to be able to again support Penarth District by providing them with another loan of £8,000. And they made their first instalment during that same financial year. The loan that we previously granted to St Bride's some years ago has been discussed by both the Executive and Tirramore District, and we're shortly going to start receiving repayment from them. And Cardiff North, who we also were able to help out some years ago, have continued to pay the loan back that they used to assist the second lender. On other things that we've done, we've continued to provide support by means of grants to districts and groups for equipment by our grant funds, and also for international expeditions from our travel funds. Scout posts continue to play an important part in our finances, but this year, obviously, as we're all now aware, that Scout posts won't be taking place. So we're going to have to look very closely at the 2021 budget. Although as an area, along with all the other funds that were agreed, we did receive the 10,000 hospitality grant, which will offset some of our shortfall from Scout Post. Where were we at the end of December? We had investment funds totaling 120,000, 85,000 in Virgin, 30 in the Monmouthshire, and 5,000 in the short term. Plus we had funds in various bank accounts, which included a 50% share of Miskin and 50% of Cardiff Game Show. These totaled just under 50,000. So we basically had just under 170,000 of funds in the area at the end of December 2019. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to Faye for all the support that she gave me during 2019. As without her support, my role would be considerably harder. Being treasurer of the area is quite a large task, involving many different aspects, not least ensuring that we follow the Charity Commission guidelines. In closing, I'd like to thank the treasurers of the various subcommittees for providing the information relating to their accounts as requested. And particular thanks to Neil Thornycroft for scrutinising the annual accounts, and very special thanks to Carol Stanfast for the tremendous amount of time and effort that she has spent preparing the accounts in readiness for Neil to scrutinise. As I've said before, I'm not an accountant, which is something that is required for the end of year preparations, and so the support of Carol is greatly appreciated. As usual, if you have any questions or you need any clarification, when you've had a proper opportunity to look at the account, then please feel free to email me at the office here at the Hub. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, making a comment about our area in a national and UK national situation, our annual report really stands scrutiny against any other county, area, district, whatever. It's a superb document, and I think Julian, Jeremy, Carol and Faye, the work they do is tremendous. Adoption of the report has been proposed by Julian and has been seconded by Jeremy. Again, I ask Julian to open voting on that, please, and please vote in the same manner. Julian.
53 votes for, 3 abstentions.
Thank you. We move on to agenda item number 5, which is the appointment of the independent examiner. Neil Thornycroft is a chartered accountant. He's been doing this work with us for several years. I think it's fair to say, Julian, he does a tremendous job on what's quite a complicated set of accounts. His appointment has been proposed by Paul and seconded by Peter. Again, I'd ask you to vote using the online system.
$55 for, 2 abstentions.
55 for, 2 abstentions, that's carried. We move on to election of area officers. First of all, treasurer.
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong one. We can have
that. Only one person has been nominated, which is Jeremy. He's been proposed by Faye and seconded by Carol. As he is the only nominee, there is no vote. And secretary. Peter does a tremendous job, has agreed to stand again. He's been proposed by Jeremy and seconded by Faye. Again, he is the only nomination, so there is no vote for that. Appointments, number 7 on the agenda.
So I get to nominate to the area exec. Two people must fill the chair of the asset and one chair of the asset, the second one the chair of the finance committee. So Muriel Cole is willing to stand and join the team this year in terms of the asset committee, and Carol's been the chair for a number of years. And then Paul as the treasurer of Scout Post and a key supporter of the area, and Neil Winks in terms of the funding and asset work. So they're my 4 nominations.
For the Youth Forum,
we have Jamie Arrow for his 2nd year, and because we have 2 youth commissioners in a job share, we're not going to fill the 2nd position because the youth commissioners are ex officio members of the council, so we will have 3. The executive will have 3 members under 25 on the executive.
the elected members from the districts, please, which is Chris Kennard, Claudia Curry, Will Maddox, Dawn Power and Keith Williams.
Then we move on to the Scout Council, the Scouts Cymru Council, and we have ex officio members as shown on the screen. And then we have 3 nominated members: Joe Holmes as a Scouter, Neil Witt covering the trustees, and Joe Fletcher covering the 18 to 25.
Appointments to the Council of Scout Cymru ex officio is Julian. The nominated members are Kathy and Joe. Which brings us on to the approval of area vice presidents, where Julian and I are nominating Keith, Glenys and Keith Hyde. Rodri Traherne retired as in July 2020. And for the life members, Richard Edwards, Lynn Thompson, Alan Williams, Barbara Williams, Dennis Hunt, Jill Clay, Captain Patricia Teagle, Captain Sir Norman Lloyd Edwards, Dr. Peter Beck and John Loader. These are proposed by Julian and seconded by me, and in the last formal vote of the evening, I would ask the council members to show their approval or otherwise using the online voting system.
And you have two questions to answer, sorry.
Being the vice presidents and the life members.
And we'll give you a slightly bit longer because you have to press 2 buttons. And we have 53 votes for the Vice President and 53 for the life members.
Thank you. That brings to the end the more formal part of the AGM, but not quite the AGM proper, because we now go back to the more exciting things of the Pathway Awards, and we have James John to tell us about activities. James.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody. At our last AGM, I told you that the activities it was going to be split into 12 separate areas, each with its own activity lead who will look to grow and expand their area activity. I'm pleased to tell you that today we've made great progress into this plan. At present, we've appointed 8 activity leads and they've been hard at work over the last 12 months. Alongside these 8 activity leads, as Joe mentioned earlier, we've also appointed a youth pathway partner for activities who will work alongside myself in continuing to grow all the activity pathways. Looking back over the last 12 months, a few weeks after our last AGM, Jeff Sword, the digital area lead, ran a session for the Jotty Jamboree on the internet, and Simon Hillard, our area mountains lead, ran a hill walking experience for Explorer and Scout leaders. Simon ran these sessions monthly for different section leaders and young leaders to give them the skills and confidence to take their young people out and about in the mountains. In November, the pantomime gang show of Cinderella saw over 60 young people from both scouting and guiding perform on stage at sellout shows. As every year, the boat base was very popularly and widely used by all groups across the area, and earlier in the year we saw the 41st Swimming Gala with 138 participants from 15 different groups, with 29th Cardiff coming out as first place overall winners. Looking ahead to the later on this year and 2021, although everything at present is uncertain, that doesn't mean that there won't be anything to look forward to. Some things already in the pipeline. Later on this month, the Jotty event will be looked to be run again. And later on in the year, we'll be looking to do some hack days as part of the digital activities. The water team, as always, already really are hard at work in preparations. We've got canoe and sailing taste of the days planned, as well as our annual canoe slalom competition. But the fun's not all for the young people. So there are some adult raft building days and bellboat training in the pipework too. Of course, we don't know yet if any of this can happen, but rest assured, we'll be prepared to do so, with the pun fully intended there. Moving on this evening, it's been great a pleasure to award this year's Pathway Activities Award winner. Back at the beginning of April, the UK Scout Association launched the Hike to the Moon as part of the Great Indoors campaign, where the Scout Association asked young people, families and volunteers to each walk a mile in their house or garden to collectively walk the approximate 238,855 miles to the moon, all whilst raising money for the Big Night In appeal with Comic Relief and the BBC's Children in Need. You'll be pleased to know that on the 23rd of April on the show, it was revealed that collectively Scouts UK walked over 240,000 miles to get into the moon. Our Pathway winner contributes a large chunk of that distance, and in the process of doing so, managed to raise a massive £1,100 to the Big Night In appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, our Pathway Award winner for activities this year goes to First Penarth.
Well done, First Penarth. Growth and Development, Julian.
The growth and development is the only area of the 9 pathways that doesn't have a lead. So yes, it's me giving the award this and giving you an overview of what we're doing. As I already said earlier in my AGM address, we didn't think that we'd be running an AGM online and launching it on our website at the same time 12 months ago. It's a very different way to doing that, and a very different way for us all to develop skills for life, even for adults. As I said also in my AGM address, we've opened the number of colonies, packs and units in the last 12 months. Looking forward, we need to look at how we can support COVID and how we can get back to scouting. Yes, there's probably my graph on the right-hand side of this slide will probably go down next year, but we need to be planning for 2022 and how we get that number back up to where we are and even greater. The amount of families we've had engaged in scouting over the last 6 months has been amazing. And how we've seen scouting at home, scouting in people's gardens is even more development of scouting in a very different way. The award for this year goes to somebody who has really supported a group to move forward, to take big steps forward in planning for a new building, in building up a new colony, in getting their executive in the right position, in really engaging in Zoom. So the award goes to Amy Hewitt.
Well done, Amy Hewitt.
Yeah. Am I unmuted? Yeah.
You're unmuted.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a real shock to win the award, so I really appreciate the help of all my leaders and the district team for helping me in what I've been doing as well, and obviously the group and all the families within the group, and thanks to the area as well for the support that they've given me in doing this. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well done, Amy, well deserved.
Thanks.
Communication, Gareth Jones. He's actually in the next room, but he's speaking to me over the internet. That's good communication. Hey, Gareth.
Good evening, everyone. So communication in the area. Well, over the past few months, we've tried, obviously, with COVID arriving, to change the way we communicate. We've moved from Google Suite over to Microsoft 365, which has enabled us to have better file sharing and collaboration. We've started doing more, as Julie said, meetings virtually. We've installed video conferencing systems at the hub, which is what's being used for the main meeting. And obviously the purpose of this is for that, rather than travel all the way across the city to the hub for training meetings and for courses, you can now do it from your home. You haven't got to spend an hour in the car traveling from the Vale. So it's changing people's lives. It's giving them more time, especially for our volunteers. And going forward for this year, work has started on replacing the website. We're going to make it more accessible for our inclusion, make it easier for the people to use. And we're going to look at making it bilingually, so adding some Welsh in as well as part of the inclusion pathway. We're also going to launch an online digital media library for all the images from our events and awards. Obviously, we can't take pictures this year, but hopefully for next year, we can upload all the images. Each district will have access to this system, so they can use it as well for their own images and basically to store all their galleries. Through a grant to the area, we've also purchased some photo and video equipment. So we're going to work with some students from Cardiff University and youth partners to create engaging videos and media that we can put out to try and recruit more adults. And onto the actual awards, it was quite hard this year choosing a winner because there's so much good work been going on across the area. But the win this year stood out quite well because they've done a lot of communication, getting parents involved. They ran virtual camps, virtual sessions on weekends for all the members. And they also got parents involved by running quizzes on a Thursday evening. So this year, I'd like to present the award, it's well earned, to Cardiff East District Virtual Team. So I'm just going to try and spotlight Steve. Well done, Steve. Your team's been amazing this year. Okay.
Well done.
Back to you, Julian.
We move on to international. Ruth Jordan, please. Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Geraint, and hi, everyone else. So, international, interesting one at the moment. When I deliver Module 19, I usually say to people, oh, the world's getting smaller. It's really easy now to, to tackle some of those complex global issues in your program or to consider international trips abroad. Well, COVID-19 has certainly made the world feel smaller than ever, but actually, rather than making the international pathway easier to deliver, it's made a significant proportion of it harder. So although actually now there's probably even more of a wealth of material available to support local delivery of the global programme, it's had a significant impact on some of the plans we'd had in place for the last 12 months from an international trip point of view. As Julian mentioned, this includes the postponement of Eurojam, which was supposed to take place this summer, but has now been moved to next year. And as a little bit of a sales pitch, because we've moved it, it does mean we now have some spaces available for young people if anyone's interested to join our unit. The next moot that was due to take place next summer has also now been moved, so is now taking place from the 18th to the 28th of July 2022, and we hope that we'll have some of our network members selected to join that trip. But actually, looking backwards over the last 12 months, we have had a number of trips abroad before everything went a bit pear-shaped. Last summer, we had 129 members from our area go abroad, including some amazing trips run by Cardiff East to Norway and BSDSU to Netherlands. But I want to focus just a little bit on two particular events that took place, and these will link to our Pathway Awards. So firstly, I want to talk a little bit about the Scouts of the World Award. This is a little known award, and to be quite frank, I didn't know much about it either, until we were approached by somebody in our area who was eager to take part. So to give you a bit of an idea of how vague or how kind of rare Scouts of the World Award is, at the time of planning, we thought only 35 Scouts in the UK have completed this award. And as far as we're aware, none had taken place in Wales. So Scouts of the World Award is a network award. It's people that take part, run a project within somewhere in the themes of peace, environment or sustainability, and have to undertake an 80-hour voluntary project. So our highly commended award winner did exactly this in Tanzania, in fact, where they did some community development work with the voluntary services overseas. So yes, congratulations, and we're so proud of Emily. This is such a rare award. Yeah, a highly commended in the international pathway goes to Emily Church. So huge applause, well done from me. So moving on then to our winners. You will all be aware, I'm sure, that every 4 years in the Scouting calendar, a massive global events for Scouts take place with our World Scout Jamborees. And that was no different last year. So last year, 56 of our area went to West Virginia for the World Scout Jamboree. Any of those of you that have been lucky enough to take part in one of these events, whether it be as a young person or whether it be as an adult, will know that these are literally life-changing experiences. But that wouldn't take place without the adults that go and support the young people. We were lucky enough to have some brilliant leaders in our area that did exactly that for the last World Scout Jamboree. So the winners of the International Pathway Award this year go to the Jamboree leadership team, which was made of, pause, Joe Holmes, Brianne Evans, David Evans, Matt Johnson and Matty Jones. So well done.
Thank you very much. It was really enjoyable experience getting to take them. It was actually an honour.
Scout Jamboree. Their motto is be prepared, but nothing could prepare them for this. Our scouts have jumped straight in, and they're not the only ones trying out the activities.
It's about bridging that kind of those cultural divides and making friendships for life and understanding we're part of this global family. 50 million strong, and once every 5 years we meet in one place, but this one is special.
It certainly is, because it's the biggest ever, with scouts from nearly every country in the world. That's a lot of friends for our Welsh Scouts, who told us what being here means to them.
I was quite a quiet person, and like the Jamboree's actually made me become more confident with speaking to new people.
I mean, actually now, I've got the confidence just to, I see some random person from a country I've never even heard of, just go over and say hi.
This whole Jamboree experience has made me realise how proud I am to be Welsh and how proud I am to represent my country here.
Yeah, it's just, until the Jamboree, I never realised how much scouting actually means to me and how much being Welsh actually means to me as well. So just give me a lot of pride, really.
Yeah, it's a big experience to have. It's been fantastic to watch them grow and really blossom into really active people, it's amazing to be part of.
You must be really proud.
That's all I can say. Every time we stop, I just go, guys, I'm super proud of you.
World Scout Jamborees have been taking place for nearly a century. Since this first one in 1920, they've been held roughly every 4 years and hosted by many different countries.
Jamboree, a crowd of people having a good time.
And the Jamboree, camp of happy days for you and me.
There was a time when Scouts had to set sail to get to them, but there was plenty to look forward to at the end of those long journeys. Times have changed, but the Jamborees are still bringing young people together. Different languages and different cultures, but they all have scouting in common.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home.
Soon they will be home. The Jamboree experience only lasts a few weeks, but the skills they've learnt and the memories they've made will stay with them a lot longer. Lauren.
Well done again to the highly commended and winners in international. Julian, Area Commissioner Award.
So as I said last year when we reintroduced the Area Commissioners Award, for me, it's the award that encompasses all our 9 pathways together. And the person this year that I put forward probably already recognises who they are by the pictures I've chosen. So I'm just going to go through them. In terms of activities, this person is always out doing activities and isn't scared of going canoeing or hill walking or doing anything like that. Facebook, they're really engaging in that in their local community and building that forward. Community engagement, they're lobbying councillors, lobbying town clerks to get finance and support for scouting. In terms of funding and assets, they refurbished their own scout hall and then took on another scout hall, and the plans here are for an extension onto that one in the near future. Inclusion, they want as many people in scouting as possible and want to get out there. In terms of the World Scout Jamboree and International, they've supported a number of people from their group to go to the Jamborees over a number of years. Training, they're a training advisor, and youth, both our youth commissioners, our current youth commissioners, come from her group. So this year's award goes to Hilary Ashton. Well done, Hilary. It's an outstanding amount of work that you do for Lanarkshire and Lisbon Scouting, and we're immensely proud of all the work you do to make sure that Scouting grows, and now we're building Scouting in Lisbon as well. So well done to you and everyone in the group.
Well done, Hilary.
Thank you.
So that brings an end to our awards. You've seen them virtually presented this evening, and you've seen the trophies and certificates. All awardees will get their awards in the next couple of days, actually physically.
We now have a video from Rhian Moore, Chief Commissioner for Wales. Possibly, perhaps.
Be brave, be bold, and not afraid to be different. That's the approach I want us to take as we forge ahead and create our future. It's been a tough 6 months, and we've all worked our way through in different ways, with different ways of surviving, with different stories to share. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done to keep Scouting going, and for making sure we were there to support each other and support our young people through challenging times. Thank you to our key workers, our family teachers, our work-life balancers, our carers, our home aloners, our Zoom expert, our online quizzers, and those who just made it through each day as we worked out our ups from our downs. I don't think it's gone away, and I think we've got a difficult winter ahead, but I'm optimistic for spring and our fingers crossed for a vaccine and a way of getting used to living with the virus, just like we have many other illnesses. It's your AGM, and I usually look back at what you've achieved and celebrate your successes. I'd also review where we are with mandatory training, top awards for young people and growth across the area. But I know Julian and the team are all over this and have it in hand. So thank you for all that you've done, and I'm going to look forward and share with you the approach I'd like us to take and the journey I'd like us to go on together, all at our own pace, navigating our own way, but making sure we all get to the same place, supporting our young people to be awesome. As we look to the future, we have an opportunity to work with others to harness the power of being a Scout. Never before has the need for inspiring and capable leaders been so great. Together, we are an unstoppable force for good to support young people, our future leaders, with skills for life to be the best they can be. Doing all we can to help young people and volunteers to find themselves, be themselves, and stand up for what they believe in. We'll do this in alliance with Scouts Cymru staff and our trustees, and we lead our amazing troop of volunteers in our groups, our areas, and all over Wales, encouraging every one of them to help other people, help rebuild communities, and help support society. Putting listening, leadership, and resilience at the centre of our challenge, we can keep the movement moving. Being excited that change can be started by anyone, someone with a good idea. We know that change is rooted in local groups, troops, packs and colonies across Wales, recognising the power of sharing ideas, being courageous and trying new things together. Grassroots Scouting is amazing, you're amazing, and recognising everyone has a part to play and we all contribute in different ways within the world of Scouting, but we move forward together and we protect what makes us great. We build on the power of coming together as one, living our values and promising to help other people. Building bravely on what we've learned over decades of Scouting, seizing the positive momentum of change and being driven by our purpose and our promise. We can collaborate courageously, recognises the voices of all ages throughout Scouting to understand their concerns and win their hearts and minds to overcome challenges and seize opportunities. We can evolve energetically with pride and optimism as we bounce back, protecting our most vulnerable and taking time to reimagine how we live the Scout promise in a way that is relevant and exciting for young people today. It might seem like a big ask or far removed from the reality of risk assessments and blended programme planning, trying to make sure you can socially distance your cubs and keep your beavers entertained on Zoom. But we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reimagine how we scout, how we reach more young people, and how we support our future leaders to be amazing. With an eye on doing the basics brilliantly, we can get excited about what could be and what is possible. Change starts at kitchen tables and in scout venues all over Wales. And no one is alone in this. And no one is asking you anything you aren't ready to do. I'm asking for your support, for you to be open-minded as we start to work through what our future could look like and the opportunities we can seize to secure an even stronger future for scouting all around us. I know we can do this. We've done it before. We Scouts.
Very good video. Ladies and gentlemen, bar a short concluding video, that brings to an end to what is our first, and I sincerely hope last, virtual AGM. Thank you all for attending. When we met last year, I was told that one or two of you had organised a sweep on whether I would conclude my closing remarks by especially thanking the members for their ongoing involvement. You're not going to be disappointed. Earlier during the awards, I was impressed that so many young people had provided so much care and kindness and passion. And as we look forward, I think the commitment of these young people will stand us in good stead for many years to come. As with the adult members, I thank them for all they've done to keep Scouting going in what are the most challenging times, but not unprecedented times. We've been there before, we've won, we'll do it again, we'll win. So, thank you all very much. No volunteers, no Scouting. Good night, no star pawb.
See you in a bit then. Don't slam them.
Bye, Dad.
See you later.
Check it out.
Whoa.
Hey, guys. See you next week. Bye.
No, there's absolutely no chance you're getting into the car, mate. Look out for your sister, yeah?
Dad.
Don't slam them.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's go. Come on, Dad, don't delay.
Don't worry, Dad, I'll look out for you.
Thanks, Dad. You want to come up front?
Well done, everyone.